Good evening, Dhamma friends. And today we will be discussing another section of Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Before we get started, let's pay respect to the book. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Right. I hope Dhamma friends probably must have read about today's section. Today we will be discussing about the second extreme of the what do you call the Dhamma path. The first extreme of the Dhamma path is about Kama Sutta Yoga. You can remember how we understood Kama Sutta Yoga in a way that clinging to karma is the problem. That itself is the problem. If we can see a cross-reference to this idea, we can go to the Metta Sutta. Metta Sutta, Karaniya Metta Sutta. At the end of the Karaniya Metta Sutta, you can see there's a very clear statement which the Buddha gives to us, saying that, how did the Buddha say that? Dittincha anupragamma sidava dasanena sampan kamesu vinaya geda nahijatu gapaseya punareti. So in this stanza, as you can see, at the end it says kamesu vinaya geda. That means it is not that you are going to what you call remove karmas in that perspective initially. It's about you are going to remove the greed toward karma. Right? A lot of people, they are confused about karma and then lobha. They all say karma is bad, but the Buddha says, yes, if you really want to hit jhanas, you might have to overcome most of the karmas. But as a layperson, the Buddha says we need to overcome the karma, the lobha toward the karma. In the same way, Kama Sutta Yoga means that one has to overcome the grasping, upadana toward the karma. Right? Now, initially, Prince Siddhartha enjoyed pleasures, and after he became an ascetic, he started practicing the opposite. What was the opposite? Atta kilamatana. Today, it's what we are going to study. Atta kilamatana. Too much, too much practice about giving lots of pain to oneself. And then he understood that giving pain to the body cannot help me understand the truth. It is just another extreme of the Dhamma path. So, not going too much on karmas with grasping, and not going too much on the self-modification, I would say giving pain to the body, I should be able to find out the truth. Majjhima Patipatti. That is how he understood the Noble Eightfold Path. So today we are going to discuss about this second extreme, which is called Atta Kilamatana Yoga. Which one seems to be little closer to our Dhamma practice? Is it Kama Sutta Yoga or Atta Kilamatana? Now, when you practice your Dhamma path, which one is little closer to your practice? I think everybody has a different conception about karma. Karma is not good, karma is bad, we have to overcome karma. So we have to be a little strict on our Dhamma practice, right? We have to practice more precepts. We have to practice more what you call strict things, right? This is a certain what you call an understanding about the Dhamma path to many. So that means it seems that most people are more likely to automatically switch on to kind of an Atthakilamathana yoga style practice. Even they practice Buddhism. How do we know that we have Atthakilamathana yoga? If you look at other pre-Buddhist teachers, such as Mahavira, you could see that those teachers, especially Mahavira, explain about, taught about this Atthakilamathana. So you have to give a lot of pain to the body. The more pain you give to the body, the closer you are to the truth. Some people do that even today's world. They are trying to pressurize them. They have to so much give pain to the body, right? So the Buddha said, giving pain to the body will never take you to the path. That's why we have to discuss this extreme, very interesting extreme in the path in clear terms. Let's go to the Sutta now to see how it was given. Self-modification. Yo chayang. Yo chayang atthakilamathanu yogo dukkho anariyo anatta sang. Atthakilamathanu yoga. We have to understand this term first. We will understand that. And it is very painful. It is not noble. It does not connect with the goal. That means goal in terms of attaining the Noble Eightfold Path. Right? So let's identify this Atthakilamathana yoga in the first place. This is what we can learn here. Atta. Atta means self. Kilamata. Atta kilamata. Atta kilamathana yoga. Right? Atta means self. Kilamata means fatigue, weariness. Anuyoga means practice. So, this means creating, is this going to be a natural fatigue, natural weariness, or kind of an artificial kind of weariness, fatigue that you are making? What would you think? Now, let's say somebody is trying to, what do you call, pressurize oneself a lot. In that context, it seems to be more likely kind of an artificial type of trying to give lots of pain to the body, right? So, atta kilamata, giving pain, physical, mental pain to the body, so that expecting liberation, expecting to understand the truth. This is what Atthakilamathana yoga is all about. Can you think about any examples in the Buddhist literature, in Buddhist stories? Have you ever seen any layperson? As a layperson, somebody tried so hard to attain maybe becoming a Sotapanna. We don't see that kind of examples actually. Unless you see some certain monks have tried in their own practice, right? It depends. So the Buddha initially said, we should not cling to any self-modification. If you cling to any self-modification, then what will happen to you is that you are going to, what you call, you are going to deviate from the path. All right. Then let's take a look at certain notes over here, so we can go from there. Let's begin by identifying the Shramana traditions in terms of understanding the sort of mortification, sort of giving pain to the body, right? Now, if you look at the Shramana tradition as given in this chart, you can see most of these teachers actually, they have emphasized about certain self-modification practices, especially Nigantanathaputta. Over here, you can see Nigantanathaputta propose an idea that you have to give pain to the body. Why is it? The more pain you give to the body, the more bad karma can be neutralized. That was what he said. So do not take a shower. Yeah, he said, don't take showers. Be naked. Go and do sunbathing in hot sun. Then what else? And he actually said a lot of practices as such. Actually, even Prince Siddhartha sort of practiced these things during his 6 years of what you call Dushkara Kriya. There is one sutta, what is it called? Arya Pariyesana Sutta in particular. It is said that Prince Siddhartha, when he became an ascetic Siddhartha, he did not take showers for many years. Are you surprised? He himself says that. Then, at a certain point, the dirty things piled up, in large amount in his body. But he did not even feel to go and take a shower because he thought initially, the more pain I give to my body, the closer I am to the Samma Sambuddhahood. He stopped eating like James. Then he stopped doing many things. So what happened was, he understood after many years that I wasted my time. Right? Some devotees are also saying these things to us in different ways. We have done this and that, but for the past 10, 20 years, I don't see any magic happening in my practice. I'm always doing the same thing. I'm overdoing the same thing. I don't feel any transformation. What's wrong with my practice? It is because you have gone more toward the Attakilamatana. Kamasukha Yoga does not seem to be in many people's practice. They know that karma can be something that is not going to work in their practice, but you need certain karmas without any greed. So a lot of people, they also stick to probably inadvertently, without their understanding, they stick to Attakilamatana practices. Can somebody think about a very small, very simple Attakilamatana yoga practice in a lay person's life? So I think this will be very clear to you at that point. How does someone like a normal lay person stick to an Attakilamatana yoga practice in his or her own Dhamma practice? What could be a way that can happen? Somebody says fasting. I think you do fasting in different ways. Intermittent fasting. When you take 8 precepts, you might not eat after 12, midday. Long hours of meditation. Is that Attakilamatana yoga? Yes, it could be. Because everything should be done in a proper way. It's not by the quantity, it's by the quality. Some people, they are going to do these things extremely, then they do not find the interest that they had before. When you do some precious things over and over unnecessarily, you will lose the interest. Okay? Not allowing oneself to be happy or laugh. That's interesting too. Yes, we have to let us smile, right? Laugh is something that we might do in different ways. But so we should not suppress us in that respect. Actually, a very good example of Attakilamatana yoga in normal people's life is Silabbata Paramasa. What is it? Silabbata Paramasa. Silabbata Paramasa means, what is it? Silapada Paramasa means that there is someone who is going to practice Sila in an extreme way. Sila must be practiced in a certain way prescribed by the Buddha. The Buddha said that we have to practice Sila to go to the Samadhi, right? And then to Panya, Sila Samadhi Panya, but not going to only practice Sila in a very hardcore way. What is Sila to us? Sila means taking care of our actions and our speech is Sila. But does Sila mean a mere avoidance of the precepts? Now you take precepts, Panatipata Viramani, Adinadana Viramani, Tamasamichachara Viramani, then Musavada Viramani, Suramere Viramani. I think I will answer your questions later. Now I will more focus on my talk. Otherwise, I might deviate from the topic. So now it is not the mere avoidance that you are supposed to do with Sila. One very fine example is a 3-month-old infant. I always take this example. A 3-month-old infant does not kill any beings. Does not kill. A 3-month-old infant does not steal other people's stuff. A 3-month-old infant does not know how to sexually misbehave. No idea at all. A 3-month-old infant does not lie. Small children cannot lie. You can understand that they are lying. And then a 3-month-old infant does not know how to cloud the mind with drinks and beverages and food. Then 3-month-old infant has more Sila than you. Isn't it? Better than you. Is it true? Is it true a 3-month-old infant or baby has more Sila than you? Can you give some thoughts? No, mere avoidance of precept is not Sila. Sila is the intentional avoidance. You are going to intentionally understand that this is no. For example, you don't kill because it's not good for your karma and it's going to deprive of other people's life. You're not going to steal because you know the consequences and you know that this is going to create lots of terrible experiences on the other person's side in his or her life. You are not going to sexually misbehave because it's not good for you, because one day your relationship will be broken up. You'll be a divorcee. And you know that you have to be careful not to step over to other people's dearly cordial relationships, respectfully. And you are not going to lie, so not good for you, be honest to you. And you understand that by lying, you will cheat on other people. So they will be cheated on. It's not good, you understand. You are not going to take what you call drinks and food to an extent that your mind will be clouded so that you can't make the sound judgment because it's not good for your panya, because you will cloud your panya, and then it's not going to help other people if you become unwise. This is Sila. This is the proper way to practice Sila. Not that I don't do this and that without knowing what it is. So 3-month-old infant does not have the true level of the Sila, right? Because that person does not carry intentions to that extent. The Buddha said all the karmas come from volition, chetana. You don't have chetana, then that is going to be a karmaless action. There are many actions that are karmaless. Now you are watching me by sitting on a chair, right? Just before you sat down, you just moved chair. You don't know what some animals were stepped on through your chair, right? You never looked at. You may not see them too. Who knows? There may be some tiny creatures, but it's a karmaless action. But if you know that there are some ants around you, around your chair and just moved around your chair, you must have stepped on them. So then that particular action could be karmaless action. But now, after 1 hour, there is somebody else comes to the same place, maybe your computer room, maybe whatever the internet room. That person clearly sees certain tiny creatures, small ants, black ants, or whatever the ants are, just moving around. And by knowing, just move the chair to that place, and then he knows, she knows, and she or he is making karma. It's a karma action. So that means chetana affects. Going back to sila. So sila means an intentional activity that you are intentionally, volitionally creating. Right? How does sila become a part of Attakilamatana? It will become an Attakilamatana yoga in a way how you understand as a fetter, Samyojana. You know the Samyojana called Sila Bata Paramas. Sila Bata Paramas means one of the fetters that stop you becoming a sota. That means there are people who only think, I only keep my 5 precepts, so I am a Buddhist, I know everything, so it's okay for me. I don't want to do anything else. This is Sila Pada Paramas. They only do Sila not in the proper way, just avoid certain things, and they think that they are practicing their life. That is Sila Pada Paramas. Buddha said, you must go to the Samadhi, then Panya, and then simultaneously practice these three at the same time. Sila prepares you to have a Samadhi, certain calmness. Because let's say you don't practice Sila, but you're going to meditate. Very interesting one. Huh? Let's say at night you are going to practice meditation, but then you haven't taken precept, you haven't renewed your precept. So all the bad things that you may have done during the day will pop up in your mind. Then your meditation will be crashed because of not taking Sila. The Sila is very important. So then just because you have the Sila, it doesn't work. You have to bring that Sila, whatever your level of Sila, whatever your quality of Sila, into the Samadhi. Is Samadhi alone the best thing? No. When you have the Samadhi, then Panya, wisdom, swells out of that Samadhi. So that means when we have the certain Samadhi, we have to bring that Samadhi to the, what you call, Yathabhuta level, Yoniso Manasikara level, which means a Panya level. Normally, when you have the perfect Samadhi, wisdom arises naturally. You don't need to communicate from outside and inside. Then you are having the perfect happiness. It's like some ponds, some lakes, probably not lakes, probably lakes, very peaceful lakes that are located in a mountain where there are no rivers coming in and out to bring water on the way in and out. Then you might be perhaps wondering, how does the lake gets water? No, water is bubbling out of the earth. Because that means there are fountains. The Buddha said when somebody has the perfect samadhi, it's like that person does not worry about external stuff, because that samadhi bubbles out of one's own practice. Panya arises out of that samadhi. Right? So, Silabbata Paramasa is the way how someone can go to Attakilamatana Yoga in that sense. But let's take a look at our notes over here. I want to highlight this Pali word, tapa. Now, Attakilamatana Yoga means, as you can see here, self-fatigue practice. So you are going to give lots of pain to the body. Never ever give pain to the body just to feel happy in your practice, because it can really keep you away from the true practice. Now the word tapa, another Pali word. So why do I select this Pali word called tapa? Tapa means a certain type of penance. Let me type that word up. Penance. Yeah, penance. Now, this Pali word is mentioned in many places in the text. Even if you see the 10, what do you call, tapoja brahmacharya, Arya Satchana Dasana, Nibbana Satchana, Etam Mangalam. Tapa means that you are going to restrain yourself, right? It's not that you are giving pain to the body, right? One day, when the Buddha was walking somewhere in the state of Magadha, he found certain Jains, Mahavira's followers, uh, who were doing certain extreme practices, right? And then the Buddha asked them, just to know some verifications of their practice, what you guys doing over here? And they said, Bhante, uh, we are going to pay the cost of our past karmas. So we are not, we are naked, we are having, what you call, we are facing the extreme hot sun. So we are going to give a lot of pain to the body. Then the Buddha asked why? Because the more we give pain to the body, the closer we are to the enlightenment. Then Buddha asked a funny question. How much bad karma have you already overcome this way? He said, we don't know about it. Then the Buddha asked, what do you think? Who is who is the happiest person in this world? Then they said, it is the Bimbisara, the King Bimbisara in the Magadha state. Then the Buddha asked the question, can King Bimbisara stay 4 nights without changing the posture? Sit down on the floor. Can he stay 4 nights without changing the posture? Can he stay 7 nights at the same place without changing the posture? Then they said no. Buddha wanted to say, if you have attained a certain happiness, then you should be able to be so calm. But it's not Attakilamatana. So the Mahavira's followers, Jain's followers, were trying to practice Attakilamatana yoga just to pay off the bad karma. Right? Do we have such devotees in our community, Dhamma folks? Saying that, Bhante, we have to give dana because we never know what bad karma we did in the past life. Do we have such people? Attakilamatana yoga people. Huh? They are trying to just compensate for assumed, I would say, projected bad karmas they had done in the past. We don't have to do that. We just do more good karmas without thinking, I am paying off for my bad karmas. Right? You just do good karmas. Don't create intentions for good karmas. Once you create good intentions for good karmas, then the quality of the good karma in a vipaka will be diminished. Now, in one sutta, Buddha says, when you do good karmas with expectations, there are certain repercussions will be happening to you. One repercussion is, let's say you have done a lot of dana in this life, right? But in a future life, you are getting all these good karmas in the form of whatever you gave to other people. But the Buddha says, Ularesu panchasukama gunesu chittananam. Although you receive all the good things you have done, but you don't create desire to enjoy them. In a simple example, you have lots of food in your fridge, but you don't feel eating them. Does it happen to some people? You have lots of facilities in your house. You have many cars, but you don't feel driving the good car. You always feel, no, the old one is good for me. Because in past lives you have given with expectations. So that means if you receive certain karmas, you should be able to enjoy them, right? Without greed. What if that your mind does not say, hey, go and enjoy that good thing? That means you have done it with expectation. Never ever create expectations for good things. Just do it. This is a Western narrative. Huh? Just do it. But they say just do it in a very, very different way. Huh? Just do good karmas. Just avoid the bad karmas. Huh? So the Buddha said that it is not good to expect things while doing. So tapa here means that you are going to calm yourself. How to calm yourself? Let's take a look. Tapa is derived from the root tap, which means to heat, give out warmth, to shine, to burn. The phrase eventually comes to signify to suffer, modify the body, undergo penance in order to burn away past karma. This is the Mahavira's practice. So they did the tapa just to burn away the past karma and release oneself. Tapa means warmth in fire. Before attaining enlightenment, ascetic Siddhartha experimented with asceticism, self-mortification of the type found in other Shramana traditions, especially Jainism, which is known as tapa. Ascetic practices were not included in the Buddhist concept of noble eightfold path. Then please keep in mind, we don't have ascetic practices in the Buddhist path. Okay? Because Buddha believed you are not going to be happy by giving pain to your body. It's not like a very old narrative. Huh? Do hard work, you will get paid by hard work. In Buddhism, we don't have hard work. What do we have instead? We have smart work. Everything is smart now. Smartphones, smart. Everything. We have smart work. I call it effortless effort. Only the wise people know how to do it. Unwise people, they struggle here. They mess up and they struggle and they blame everybody. They say it is not good, whatever. So this is a smart practice. Smart practice is going beyond the smartness of what people talk today, but it's smart. Effortless effort. Even when you practice virya, this is another interesting point. Virya, huh? Type that for you. This word, huh? Energy. Virya. Now the problem is too much virya or too less virya. These are extremes. When you have too much virya, lot of virya, what will happen to you? You are restless. If you had thought today morning, tonight I'm going to the Sutta discussion, I will become a Sotapanna after the Dhamma discussion. Too much, it causes lots of, what do you call? Uddacha. So you can't even then wait till this happens. You are checking out whether it is started or not, whether I'm left behind, whether I can catch the notes. Too much into the Dhamma practice is not necessary. Don't come to learn Dhamma in a way that you are so excited about it. Then you have Uddat. You have crossed the boundary of the normal level. And what if you have too less virya? You have no virya at all. You don't try, you are lazy and thinking, today I'm not going to listen to the Dhamma talk, going to the Dhamma discussion. I'm a little lazy today. It's raining outside, thundering, but I sleep, Or maybe probably I don't want to go. I might probably drop out. I might probably, feel bored today. Right? So it's too less virya. That means we must balance out our virya. Balance out virya. That means not letting it go too high, not going it too low. So it is also part of Artha-Kilamatana Yoga. Because Artha-Kilamatana Yoga happens when you have too much, putting lots of unnecessary efforts. So in the Noble Eightfold Path, we don't have this ascetic practices. The Buddha attributes the ascetic self-mortification style tapa practices to Jainism, Nigantas, in multiple Buddhist texts, suttas, Majjhima Nikaya, Devadaha Sutta, and where such practices annihilate past karmas and prevent new karmas from being freed, which leads to the cycle of rebirth samsara. You can read this later. I'm going to skip certain areas just to save the time. And you can see here how did people practice, these tapas. See. Now let's take a look at on the word tapa, what you call burning your own kilesas, and how it was given in the Buddhist text. The Buddha uses the word tapa. Saddha bijam tapo vutti. Confidence is the seed and penance is the rain. Pasi Bharadwaja Sutta. Tapo sukho. Penance is happiness. Now, let me ask you, the very famous practice that Hindu people did before, and the Buddha also reinvented in his own way, is jhanas. They translate to be absorptions. What does jhana mean? Jhana is Pali word. Jhana. Now the word comes like this, jayati. Jayati means to burn. Even the word jhana is about to burn. Now tapa is also to burn. What is to be burned? Now jhana means you're going to burn the 5 hindrances initially. The Buddha's way is that Buddha said that you don't have to practice all jhanas all the time. Even first jhana also enough to attain nibbana. Right? Even second jhana also enough to attain nibbana. But the Hindu people said, no, you have to go for the full list of jhanas. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seven, eight to attain nibbana. They are whatever the samadhi. Buddha said, not necessary. Even if you practice the first jhana very well, then if you can, bring that jhana into the anicca, impermanence, then it will help you to attain nibbana. Very easy. The sutta is Attakanagara Sutta. Majjhima Nikaya, you can see that. Anyways, so burning here means that you are going to burn the nivaranas according to the jhanas. Up here, tapa means you are going to burn certain kilesas. We call them upakilesas. Tapocha brahmacharyancha. Penance is the highest way of living. What does it mean? Now, in our day-to-day life, are we burning all the time or are we cooling us down all the time? What do you think? When you wake up early in the morning and till you go to sleep, what is happening? Are you coming up with certain coolness or coming up with certain heat? Are you getting burned? Are you getting cooled? What is happening to you? Yes, I might be cool if I make a cold drink. Not make a hot drink. But what does it mean here? Are we burning since early morning, or are we feeling certain coolness? If you look at your daily life, we are supposed to be burned because of our nivaranas or akusalas, right? So that is why the Buddha said, tapovacha brahmacharya. So you understand, one of the forms of highest living. And then kanti paramang tapo titikka. Patience and forgiveness make the highest. This is the Buddha's way of ascetic practices. Now for Jains, there are ascetic practices to give a lot of pain to the body. But the Buddha said, my way of ascetic practice is creating more patience and creating more forgiveness to oneself and to others. What a nice way of looking at these ascetic practices. Actually, why Buddha said that patience and forgiveness are the best ways of practicing ascetic practices. Now, what is happening to you when you are going to be patient? Is patience always possible? It's not always possible. Right? It depends on your practice, right? Some people are very calm people. They are by default, they are patient. By default, you don't have to improve anything. But there are people who have to work a lot. Every day, every morning. Sometimes they come to Dhamma talks every day, but their patient level has not gone up. Something wrong in their practice. Why? They just listen, nothing goes to the heart. Filling up the head, nothing goes to the heart. There's something wrong actually in their practice. Maybe the way how they understand it. Maybe they might think that the more they learn, the better they are. It might not be the same all the time, you know. So I think developing patience is a tough activity, but the result is very, what do you call, very blissful. So the Buddha said, if somebody can take time to understand, let's say somebody wrote something bad to you in an email. Does it happen to some people in their work life? They write some bad emails. So now there is a person who wants to practice patience. He or she thinks, no, I'm not going to reply to this email today. Because if I reply to this email, I would be bringing lots of hatred to this person and to me. Somebody send a bad text message to you, WhatsApp message to you. Would you rather send a message at the moment, or would you take some time to respond to that message? You should take some time. Let's say you got it today, you're not replying today. You will reply probably in a day or two, so your anger also probably gone down. Their anger also probably will have gone down. You are good. So you are looking at different ways to practice patience. Patience is not that kind of a very artificial quality. Just like that, I know Dhamma, I should be able to practice patience. No, it won't work. Some people might think I've been listening to Dhamma talks, I've been going to certain programs, I read a lot of books, so I should be able to be patient. No, it might not. So you have to give some time. Time heals a lot of things. Do not respond. Take a pause, take a break. Taking the break is the best thing to be patient at the beginning. And then as you work on that, finally you will come to the right place. Understand? So what about the forgiveness? That is even harder than the patience. Forgiveness. Harder to many people. They say, you know what? I can forgive, but I won't forget this thing. They can forgive, but they don't forget. They are keeping that trashy things in their mind, in their heart. Let's say, yes, let's say we had a bad experience with somebody. Yes, we might have a certain memory. Don't keep it as a wound. Just keep it as a lesson learned from that particular activity. Because we need that just to protect, just to have a safe space between those people. So, according to the Buddha, the self-mortification in the Buddhist teaching is patience and forgiveness. It's not like that you don't eat for long. It's not like that you are trying to say to you that I have to meditate for 12 hours, 15 hours. Now, when I conduct certain meditation retreats, one of the very questions that I get asked oftentimes, Bhante, I cannot practice meditation for long. So what's the point of practicing meditation for long? I'm asking, are you able to practice meditation according to how the Buddha said? Have you been able to come to a certain level of your meditation? Not that quantity matters to you in meditation, but quality matters in meditation. It's not like you just sit down on the floor and then close your eyes, right? There's a whimsical cartoon a long time ago, somebody posted. A dog was actually doing the same thing, sitting down. And he's questioning the man who is sitting there. What are you doing other than what I'm doing here? It's a whimsical cartoon. So our practice is not just sit down and just keep the eyes closed and spend as long as we can. That is not the Buddhist meditation. The Buddhist meditation is that you are trying to clear your thoughts and bring kusala thoughts onto that. So it might take a couple minutes, because the real meditation happens off the cushion, not on the cushion. Off the cushion. Because that is the time we are dealing with people, dealing with our family, dealing with other people. Right? So the true ascetic practice, I would say, if you really want to do a certain Atthakilamattana yoga, think about patience and forgiveness. Really very important qualities in our life we can practice. All right. How did Prince Siddhartha practice Atthakilamattana yoga? I would ask you to read Majjhima Nikaya 12. Let's read how he practiced Atthakilamattana yoga. He is explaining to Bhante Sariputta, I went naked. He went naked also, rejecting conventions. Licking my hands, not coming when hungry, not stopping when hungry. I did not accept food brought or food specially made for an invitation to a meal. I received nothing from a pot, from a bowl, across a threshold, across a stick, across a pestle, from two eating together, from a pregnant woman. Not taking food from a pregnant woman is also ascetic practice at that time. So pregnant women cannot offer that. Atta going too far. From a woman in the midst of men, from where food was advertised to be distributed, from where a dog was waiting. When a dog was looking at the Prince Siddhartha, he did not eat that. He just gave that plate of food to that particular dog. From where flies were buzzing, accepted no fish or meat. No meat and no fish. Interesting. That means you have to be a vegetarian if you want to practice Atta Kilamatana. So this does not mean that we have to be vegetarians. You might be a vegetarian on new moon day, full moon day. You might not be a vegetarian on other days. So the Buddha says that becoming somebody who is not consuming meat or fish. I drank no liquor, wine, fermented brew. I kept to one house, to one morsel. I kept to two houses, two morsels. That means when he wanted to eat a little, he only went to one house, Pindapata, in his own. Then I kept to 7 houses, 7 morsels. Such, let's go to the bottom over here. I was one who stood continuously rejecting seeds. I was one who squatted continuously, devoted to maintaining the squatting position. I was one who used a mattress of spike. I made a mattress of spike in my bed. I dwelt pursuing the practice of bathing in water 3 times daily in the evening. Thus, in such a variety of ways, I dwelt pursuing the practice of tormenting and mortifying the body. Such was my asceticism. Here, something interesting. Such was my coarseness, Sariputta, that just as the bowl of Tinduka tree, kind of a tree at that time, accumulating over the years, cakes and flakes off of the skin, so to dust and dirt, accumulating over the years, kicked off my body and flaked off. It never occurred to me, oh, let me rub this dust and dirt off with my hand. Or let another rub this dust and dirt off with this hand. It never occurred to me that such way of cost. Have you seen some of your friends, family members who are as such, who don't even want to help them out in your own way? They don't take showers, but you are concerned about, hey, go take a shower. No, don't do that. I'm practicing self-modification. Even the Prince Siddhartha had this idea, don't come to me, let it be, I'm practicing Atta Kilamatana Yoga. So it's a long list. I'm not going to read, please take a look. But here, there's something interesting. Because of eating so little, my belly skin adhered to my backbone. Thus, if I wanted to touch my belly from the front, belly skin, I encountered my backbone. That is way too far. You see the both sides just by a touch from one side, right? So if the Prince, what you call ascetic Siddhartha, experience these things, why are we going to practice these things in our Sila practice? He already gave us a good example, right? Not to go to these unnecessary practices. Then, is it true that the Buddha said that all ascetic practices should be avoided? Vajjayama Gita Sutta, in 10.9. No. He said something interesting. Let me show you. If when an asceticism is pursued, a certain ascetic practice is pursued, unskillful qualities grow and skillful qualities wane. That means kusala goes down, akusala comes up. Then I tell you that sort of ascetic practice is not to be pursued. But if when an ascetic practice is pursued, akusala goes down, kusala grows, then I tell you that that sort of ascetic practice is to be pursued. Actually, Buddha takes it from a different level, not like the Jains. He takes it from like patience, forgiveness, that kind of approach. So when you practice, because there are a lot of conditions that do not help us to be patient, then you are trying so hard, I'm not going to break my peace. I have to be patient. It used to be kind of an ascetic practice in a way because, you know, there are lots of bottling up anger, but you are trying not to burst. When a lot of things are happening, you understand that I have to heal myself. I have to forgive myself. I have to forgive those people who I have lots of anger, right? This is the true ascetic practice. So actually, when you practice these things, your kusala goes up, akusala goes down. There are many suttas you can read later. I'm not going to read all that because of the timing. This is interesting. Devadatta's 5 requests. You know who is Devadatta? Devadatta is Buddha's cousin, Yashodhara's brother. One day he thought, I go to the Buddha, suggest the Buddha a better sila than what the Buddha said. Some people do think so. They want to practice some extreme sila. What were the extreme silas that he suggested? Here, monks. Monks should spend their lives only in the forest. Entering a town should be an evil. Don't go to the city. They should only be in the forest. Right? That is one request. Monks should live only on what they had received through Pindapata. Receiving food requested should be an evil, akusala. Monks should wear only clothes made of rags from dust heaps, pasakuli. Receiving the robe from the lay people should be a house. Monks should stay at the foot of a tree. Entering a dwelling, a temple or something, monastery should be an house. This is interesting. All monks, nuns should not eat fish, meat. That means they should become vegetarians. Doing so should be an akusala. Some sources say milk and butter instead of, that's another tradition. Now, when the Buddha heard these 5 requests, Buddha denied outrightly, no, these are true extreme ideas. Let anybody want to stay in the temple, monastery, let them stay. Let anybody want to stay in the forest, let them be there. Buddha was such a very reasonable person. Then Devadatta made it a point, say, Buddha did not accept these very good ones. So I'm going to bring certain monks. I'm going to make a group of monks. Some monks, they got cheated by him. See, I'm better than the Buddha, you know. Like in today's world, one of the easiest ways to mislead some of the devotees is to say that, you know, this meditation is so strict, you know, it's so good, going well. To show certain strict rules to devotees. And they might think that, that is Attakila Yoga, you know, because we need to specifically look at certain practices in proper understanding. But what I'm saying is that if you show a lot of hard and fast rules, a lot of people start following them. That is the normal nature of the mind. Right? Now, you know, in Japan, the famous teacher, Shoko Asahara, you know, a lot of young people like him at that time, even now. Finally, they actually bomb certain subways. So the idea is that if you bring a lot of rules, you can get a lot of people as followers. But Buddha is not that kind of a rule person. We don't have rules actually. We have self-discipline. Now you take Sila. Who knows you are having the good Sila? It is only you know you have a Sila or not. So it's a self-discipline. It's not a rule. Right? So the Buddha outrightly rejected Devadatta's request. He said, you got to be reasonable. If you want to be in the forest, may you be in the forest. If you want to be in the city monastery, may you be in the forest. If you want to eat the food, there are certain 10 types of food the Buddha said don't eat. Remember the story? There were some monks went to a village at that time. So devotees offered snake meat. And then on the way back to the forest, monks were attacked by cobras because normally animals know when their colleagues were eaten by others. So they felt the smell of the other cobras in their bellies. So what happened? A lot of monks were attacked by the cobras, thinking that you guys ate our fellows. When the Buddha said, if you are living in the forest, don't go to that village and accept this cobra meat. As such, there was certain meat that were prohibited by the Buddha. Other than that, Buddha never went to say, hey, you have to be a vegetarian all the time. It is up to, but there are certain health benefits of being a vegetarian. It's a different thing in today's world. But as a teaching, Buddha never said you must. Then, if the Buddha thoroughly believes that everybody should do as such, then he would have accepted Devadatta's 5th request. He didn't. So I call these 5 to be ascetic practices, Atta yoga practices. That's why I actually mentioned to you. All right, we have come down to the last area almost. What does the Buddha have to say about the Jain's following thought? Also, Gautama, Sukhena Sukham Adhigantappa. Reverend Gautama Bhante, happiness is not gained through happiness. Who said so? Mahavira's followers. Not even Mahavira's followers say that. Some of our devotees also say, Bhante, happiness cannot be gained by happiness. This is a Jain idea, Mahavira's idea. Then what was the Buddha's answer? Let's see that. Dukkhenaku sukham adhigantappa. Happiness is gained through pain. They said, if you want to be happy, you have to go through certain pain in your life. Like some people, they put a thing in their room, no pain, no gain, you know. That kind of a thought, no pain, no gain. So embrace some pain, you'll be happy again. But the Buddha did not accept that idea for the practice. He said, happiness is attained through happiness, as you can see here. Sukhena chavaso Gautama sukham adhigantappam. Abhavis sukhena sukham means when you practice the Noble Eightfold Path, you are practicing Noble Eightfold Path, Samma Ditthi, Samma Sankappa, Samma Samadhi with happiness. Thereby, you are creating larger happiness at the end of this practice. But if you start giving a lot of pain to your body, you started the practice with pain. You are not going anywhere in that practice. When you practice Yoniso Manasikara, which leads to Sammadhi, that is a happy practice. Are there unhappy Buddhists? Or are they happy Buddhists? I think you have been knowing a lot of Dhamma practitioners in your life. Huh? Who were the most people you met? Are they happy practitioners or unhappy practitioners? More or less, maybe you may have met a lot of people differently. So Buddhists are supposed to practice happy things, good ways. Thereby, they are creating this larger happiness. Right? So that is what we can understand about Atta Kilamatana. Don't give pain to your body. Pain is what you call dosa. The moment that pain arises, it is a dosa. There are things that we cannot avoid. Let's say you have a physical pain, then you might be taking painkillers. But you are trying to understand that pain, underlying quality of pain is dosa. Right? Buddha said in many places, we have to understand pain arises from dosa. Even the sadness arises from dosa. Even the regret, remorse also arises from dosa, because you are resisting the acceptance of the truth. And you are resisting the pain, right? So we have to understand why did the Buddha reject Atta Kilamatana Yoga? The moment you start unnecessary sila, too much sila, bad sila, you are creating a lot of resistance to your happiness. Once you resist it, everything is not flowing. You're going to get stacked up and then stagnant. Your practice is going to be dry. That is not good. So that's why the Buddha said, this is painful, dukkho, anariyo, not noble, anatta sankito. This does not take you to the noble eightfold path. Dutanga, I don't want to talk about Dutanga. Dutanga was given in the Visuddhi month, right? Acharya Buddha Gosha's book. I want to mention that when you read Dhamma books, start reading Dhamma books from the early text. Don't try reading Dhamma from the Abhidhamma in the first place. Don't try reading Dhamma from Visuddhimagga. They are later additions to the canon. There are people who don't understand early suttas, they go to Abhidhamma class and they learn Abhidhamma only. And then they don't know what is the connection to suttas. They thoroughly misunderstood. Can you tell me any lay people's teaching in the Abhidhamma? Go check the Abhidhamma text. Is there any teaching that is good for the lay person, for the lay people life? They have been, more about certain higher concepts. So you have to start your Dhamma practice from the early Buddhist text. But whenever you have come to a certain level, then only you can read Abhidhamma as an additional teaching, but not in the first place. But I think because of your time constraint, you won't have lots of time to do all these things. I think even reading the early Buddhist text is also a very cumbersome, enterprising effort for you, because you read and you have to practice, right? Not that fill up your mind with all the suttas. So only you select the good, very important suttas and understand the application, then practice, right? Otherwise, you will be older before you read a couple of suttas, right? Properly. So, right? So, when you getting older means that your cognition level might go down. You won't be able to learn a lot of things like that. So, that means you have to pick up the right suttas under a good teacher. All right. Finally, I would say something interesting. This is the final thing I want to say, and then wrap this up before we go to the Q&A. According to the Ratha Vinita Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya 24, the purification of Sila is not Nibbana itself and should not be adhered to for this reason. The Buddha says in the Ratha Vinita Sutta, this is a conversation between Arahant Sariputta and I think Arahant Purnamantana. In this sutta, this is the Buddha's idea, that we have to purify us from different states of mind. There are 7 things, 7 purifiers. The first purifier is Sila. So, when you purify from Sila, you have to go to the next purifier. Let's see how it is happening in your overall practice. Purification of Sila is only for the sake of purification of mind. Means, what you call Sila Visuddhi leads you to the Chitta Visuddhi. Purification of mind, Chitta Visuddhi, is only for the sake of purification of Vipa. That takes you to the Ditti Visuddhi. Purification of view is only for the sake of purification through overcoming doubt. That means Ditti Visuddhi leads you to the Kanka Vitarana Visuddhi. So, I'm not going to read everything. But finally, what happens? The spiritual life is lived under the Buddha for the sake of extinguishment by not grasping. Now, this means there are 7 purifications in Buddhism. This is what happens to you even when you practice the Noble Eightfold Path. Sila, Chitta, Ditti, Kanka Vitarana, Magga Magga, Jnana Dasana, as such. So, it is just as there is a king who has to go for a long journey. Now, you don't know, you don't understand how his motorcade works. So, how it happened was, the king goes from one city to the end of the border, to the border of that city in one horse carriage. So, then there is another motorcade is ready for him to take from that border to the other border, other state. So, in the same way, when somebody practices Buddha's Dhamma, they go in 7 motorcades into the Nibbana. So, now you think about this analogy. The first motorcade is Sila Visuddhi. That means practicing Sila. Now, if you end up with the first motorcade, you are not going to the second motorcade. That means you have to go to the 7 motorcades, just as a king who switches from one city to the other city and finally attaining Nibbana at the point of Sammasama. So the reason why I showed this was never ever end up with Sila. Sila is the starting point. You have to maintain, but please keep going. Keep going till you go to the final purification. Right? So that's why the Buddha said, Tamasukalikhana Yoga and Attakilamathana Yoga, they are truly preventing someone to go into the noble, eightfold path. So we have to understand how much karma is allowed and how much karma allowed, and then how do we practice kilamata, what you call kilamata. We practice ascetic practices in a different way. Our practice of ascetic thing is to practice patience and forgiveness, not like physically harming us, mentally harming us. All right, let's go to the Q&A.
Bhante, just now the last article that you shared with us, I don't quite understand. You explained that sila is purification, and then you said that it will lead to purification of mind.
Let me show you.
And then purification of will. I don't quite understand the difference between purification of mind and purification of will.
Yeah. Let me show you. Right. Okay. Can you see this purification note? 7 stages of purification are a series of purification that serve as a succinct outline of the entire path the meditator passes through in his or her inner journey from bondage, samsara to the liberation, nibbana. These purifications, we call them Visuddhi, okay? Pali term is Visuddhi, given in the Ratha Vinita Sutta in the Pali Majjhima Nikaya. Sila Visuddhi, Chitta Visuddhi, Ditti Visuddhi, Kanka Vitarana, Magga Magga, Patipada Jnana Darsana, Jnana Darsana. Now, how does the process happen? Now, you first start practicing Sila. When you practice Sila, you are purifying yourself from. Let me ask you, what is the purification with the Sila? What kind of purification can Sila give to us? Can Sila purify our mind? We cannot hear you. Can Sila purify our mind? We cannot hear you, sister. I unmute actually. No, we cannot hear you. All right. So, Sila cannot purify your thought. Sila can purify our actions and speech on. But it will lead to the Chitta. Chitta means when you have Sila, purification of your, body speech, that will lead us to the purification of views, Chitta.
Bhante, I only understand Sila as purification of our action, our behavior, our speech. This is my understanding of Sila.
Action and behavior, they are same.
Yeah. So I see Sila as to purify my behavior.
Yes.
To improve my behavior.
Yes, you are right. So when you improve your behavior from the bad speech, from the bad action, the next thing that will happen, it will lead you to purify your mind. We call it Chitta Visuddhi. Now, you remember the example I took? A king's motorcade. Now there is a king. Let's say the king wants to go to Kosala. Now he is in the Magadha state. It's a faraway state. So the motorcade is being prepared by his officials from one city to the border of that state. Now you can take it as Sila. Let's say he starts a journey from his Magadha to the border of the city. Then once he goes to the border, he cannot go to the other state from that motorcade. Another motorcade is being prepared for him. We call it Chitta Visuddhi. That means he has to get in that motorcade. But the nice thing is here, the connection is that if he had not come in the first motorcade, he would have not been able to get into the next motorcade. If you don't have Sila purification, you won't have the mind purification. Then, that's the second. Then if you don't have the mind purification, second motorcade, you are not going to be able to purify your views. Third motorcade is purifying views. Now let's go to the list. Sila Visuddhi means purification, Sila, then the mind, then the view. This is the fourth motorcade. If you have not come from the third motorcade, Ditti Visuddhi, purifying your views, you won't be able to come to the fourth motorcade of overcoming your spiritual doubts. Then purification by knowledge and vision of what is path, what is not path. How to understand Noble Eightfold Path, how to understand the ignoble path, the Miccha Sati, Miccha Path. Then if you haven't taken the fifth motorcade, you are not able to go to the sixth motorcade. That means purification by knowledge and vision of the course of practice. Now you are almost near the destination. That means the seventh. That means you are almost going to the Kosala now. That's going to be the seventh one. If you haven't come from the sixth motorcade, you won't be able to go to the purification by knowledge and vision, Jnana Darsana Visuddhi. That means this is the Nibbana level. That means in order to come to that purification, you must have come through the sixth one. That means 7 motorcades. That means 7 purifications are combined together one by one. One purification leads to another purification, and it takes you to the final purification, making you onto the Nibbana. So the point that I made today is that Sila is a continuous practice. You should not end up, one motorcade will not take you to the purification, higher level. So a lot of people think, I have 5 precepts, so I'm good, I'm done, that's it. That is a perfect ending in your practice. You have to go. If you ended up in Sila, you have fallen a victim onto the Attakilantana. That is why I said these 7 purification styles. Yes, brother, yeah?
Good evening, Bante.
Good evening.
Just to follow up on that question on the purification, what type of level of purification that you mean, Bante?
What type of purification do I mean in that?
From Sila to Samadhi and Chitta and Ditti and all that. What type of level of purification so that we can move on?
I don't mean any purification. The Buddha means purification. So what I can say is what the Buddha meant according to a text. What he meant was that a provision of our practice. Now let's say you can take these words, Sila, Chitta, Ditti, Tankavitarana, Madhamaka Jnana Darsana. So you can see Sila means you have improved your Sila practice to a good level. That is very individualistic. Your Sila and somebody else's Sila practice could be entirely different, the way how they practice. But individually, you have mastered, you have developed that Sila to a higher level in your own spiritual life. So that is the purification. Let's say that you passed the first motorcade, thereby you are going to the second motorcade, Chitta Visuddhi. At that point, you may do a certain meditation, another person may do another meditation. But regardless of what kind of meditation you are doing, you have come to a certain stage, certain higher level of that meditation under a teaching. Right? It could be different from one to one. So purification is very individualistic. So we cannot say this and that. I could say it is a certain progress, a certain probably unaccountable, maybe countable progress in your that particular area of the virtue. All right.
Bante, sorry. Shall we do this simultaneously in terms of the purification?
Shall we do?
I mean, should we do it simultaneously? For example,
simultaneously. You mean how to do simultaneously? You mean these motorcades have to be done simultaneously? So then how to go to how to go from one motorcade? Then the king has to go to, he has to do 7 motorcades at the same time. Is it possible? Now, king has to go from Magadha to Kosala, right? So it's a long distance. So he has to start 7 motorcades at the same time. Is it possible?
For example, Bante, let's say we want to do meditation. Definitely, we already doing our sila. For example, we keep the 5 precepts. You know,
No,
then
these are two contexts, brother. Now, in your lay life, you might do certain things at the same time. Dana, Sila, Bhavana, and all that. What do these 7 purification mean is a progressive level of those practices. Your progressions happen one by one, but you practice in your daily life simultaneously. Yes, you can practice simultaneously, right? It's not like that today, this is February, during the Chinese New Year, I practice Dana. Then March, spring break, I practice Sila. Then I will do some meditation in April. Maybe by summer, I will practice Nekkhamma. You might do something like that, like in terms of purifications. So the approach in the purification has to be understood with a progressive level. But in your daily life, yes, you are right. We have to practice simultaneously. Dana, Sila, Bhavana, all together simultaneously. But the progression happens one by one. Don't forget that. It happens one by one. That is the theory behind these 7 purification, right?
understand.
So that is how we have to understand. Yes, so yeah.
Good evening, Bante.
Evening.
Would like to ask a question. When the sequence of purifications is about the start of the purification is sila. So sila, to my understanding, is actions. Then I have a confusion. Shouldn't the action is started from our mind first? Then why is not started purification from mind or will first? Then the action is the next.
This is how we have to understand them. Yes, thoughts come first. That is what we understand from the Noble Eightfold Path. Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa means thoughts. Then we go to the Sila. Once again, I want to reiterate, this purification style should not be misunderstood in an ascending order of the cognition process. As I told earlier to Brother Yap, this is how the provision, the progress of our spiritual path works. Okay? It's not that thoughts come first or actions come second. We don't have to worry about it. It's true that thoughts come first. That is why in the Noble Eightfold Path, Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa come first. Samma Vacha, Samma Kamma, the Sila part, it comes second. But when you develop certain progress in your Sila, in your other things, firstly, what is happening is not a progression of your thoughts, mostly a progression of your actions and speech. For example, this is very interesting. Now, let's say you are going to teach certain kids in a school. Are you very concerned about their mindset or are you very concerned about their bad behavior in the school? Tell me. Are you going to clear out their bad mind, what you call the naughty, disruptive mind? Or are you going to say, hey, you guys can't run here? Are you going to discipline them physically in the first place? That is why Sila comes first here in the progression. But when the purification is happening on the side, we are practicing the Noble Eightfold Path. Yes, there we work on the thought side in the first place. But purification happens on the side. So in terms of the progress of the purification, first the physical behavior is what that is to be automatically focused. Make sense? Okay.
Thank you.
We have a question from Brother Leong. But isn't these self-mortification and other such practices that the Buddha referred to as rites and rituals that must be avoided?
Actually, the translation called rites and rituals is a more Protestant translation, right? So we normally say Siddhapada Paramasa is extreme Sila practices towards certain precepts. Actually, wrong practice of Sila and certain cults In Buddhism, we don't have cults. But now you can see there are some Buddhist cults so-called Buddhist cults are coming up. Certain Buddhist cults in some countries. So the Buddha said, never practice Sila as an extreme practice, as we discussed, and then never practice cults. So they are, yes, they are Artha Yoga. But they are implied, they are not given under the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. They are implied Artha Yoga practices. A lot of things they are implied. Yes. Any other question?
Bhante, one last question, perhaps it's a practice question from Dr. Fong. Bhante, when I am doing sitting meditation and in half lotus position, my legs become pained after 45 minutes. But if I sit with both legs on the ground, I can sit longer. Should I insist half lotus to endure the pain and even endure huge pain to learn the full lotus position?
Can you tell me the timing? I can go find it out.
Yes. So this is the time at 9:01, Bhante.
9:01. Okay, Bhante, when I doing sitting meditation and in half lotus position, my legs became pain after 45 minutes. But if I sit with both legs on ground, I can sit long. Should I insist half lotus to endure the pain and even endure huge pain? I think you are doing Artha Yoga here. That is the answer here. Why do you have to create pain to do the meditation? What is the purpose of creating pain for the meditation? We are going to be happier after meditating, right? So don't think that timing matters to us. Meditation is not about timing. It's about how fast you can calm your mind. So you may, actually I'm always telling people, Buddha was never concerned about the sitting posture. Unless you are doing the breath meditation for a certain time. The Buddha said, Ujung Kaya, keep your back upright. But he never said you should be sit on the floor, you should be sit on a cushion, you should be sit on a chair. It's up to anybody because they have their own concerns. But he said, try to, keep your back straight. That is the necessary requirement. And my understanding is, what are you doing for 45 minutes here, having pain? That's the question. I ask you again. You say, I am doing, you do not clarify what kind of meditation is this. And in half, you are more concerned about the physical requirements. My legs became pain after what have you been doing for 45 minutes? I think you better do a 10 minutes meditation in the proper way. Right? That is the best thing. Timing doesn't matter, quality matters. And then I think it's very natural for someone to have pain after 45 minutes of continuously sitting. I mean, there is no surprise for everybody. Yeah? And should I insist half lotus? Oh, I'm not concerned about the position. Rather, I'm concerned about whether you are able to incorporate the proper practice. If it is Anapanasati, let me tell you. In the Anapanasati practice, you start by having a good posture. That means, keeping your back straight and all that. Then you are scanning the body. Then you are going to relax your body. That will decrease your pain. Then you are trying to watch your thoughts. The purpose of watch your breathing. Once you watch your breaths very well, whatever different breaths at a certain time, then you will feel a certain concentration. This certain concentration will come up with certain wrong indications. Some people see rocks, some people see they're like floating in the sky. Don't get caught up. Just continue your meditation. When you continue, you will feel that you have a certain happiness or joy. But don't get caught up in that too. Continue. When you continue, you will be coming to a certain place where you feel almost breathless. Breathless. Actually, you can't be not breathing. You are breathing, but you don't feel you are breathing. That means you have perfectly refined your breath. But don't get caught up. You have yet to go. And you are continuing. When you are continuing, you will feel less thoughts are coming up. More thoughts are, if those less thoughts are coming up, they are mostly, giving you an ability to filter out. You can see kusala, kusala very clear. As you continue, you will come to even a thoughtless state. You will feel almost you are not thinking. You are thinking, you don't feel you are thinking. This is the perfect time you are going to tap into contemplations. Anicca, Viraga, Nirodha, Patimissaka. I don't think that in order to practice this, you have to sit that long. If you are, if you know these steps, then you will be able to practice within a short time. So don't worry about the timing. Buddha never said 1 hour, 45 minutes. Did you find Buddha's way of giving timing? Buddha didn't know the timing, seconds, minutes, 1 hour. Who says that? These are modern meditation styles. I don't want to say their names. They are saying do 1 hour, do 2 hours. Buddha was more concerned about the quality of your meditation, the stages of your meditation, not the timing. So, brother, just think about these proper methods. Read Anapanasati Sutta, read Satipatthana Sutta, understand the Buddha's true way of practicing meditation. Don't learn from these modern styles, right? Watching the belly, watching that thing, this thing, and you will get stuck halfway of that meditation.